Welcome in, everyone. And we are back for part two with Eli. I am here with my co host, Drew,
Hi,
and from
everybody.
Drew's Abandoned Paranormal vlog. And here with our guest, Sherry, from PWI Spiritual Investigator. And then we have Eli. And if anybody hasn't watched part one, you can always go back later and watch part one. He's going to kind of give us a little recap of what happened to him, how he died from last time, and then he'll go into continuing part two because we didn't get to finish because he could be on here 4, 5, 6 times, I think, and we just have to keep
Yeah,
bringing him back till he finishes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Okay, where do we start? Okay, 2 years ago, April. I think it's April 4th. Well, it was a week before I came home. Was coming to cough. Everybody was sick at the house. They got COVID, and me and my daughter didn't, but we contracted it. And I kind of ignored it. Like I took some cough medicine and everything else, and I was getting a little better. I was getting a little better. It was just a fever and stuff like that. So I was getting sicker and sicker and sicker, and I was like, what the hell, um, my fiance told me you need to go to the hospital because like you keep on coughing and your breathing was getting bad, and I just thought, no, maybe it was just I'm not drinking enough water, or it's I'm hard headed when it comes down to being sick, um, so my sister come knocking on my door. She was like, "You okay?" And then your lips are blue. I was like, "What?" So I ignored it. I was like, "Oh, I'm okay." Whatever. It's not that blue or whatever. So my sister called the ambulance, and my sister was like, "Well, you need to come out here." So I went out there. It took me a while because every time I lay down, I was always in pain. It was increased pain. I couldn't breathe. It was like skipping a breath when you breathe, and you couldn't breathe. It was just like like that, but it was more like it was like coughing at the same time. That terrible. Um, and so I went to the living room. I sat down in one of those high chairs that my mom had at the dinner table, and ambulance came. They were talking to me on the phone, kept trying to keep me busy because I could not breathe at all. Coughing, and breathing at the same time was just like you couldn't breathe. Like it was just like you couldn't. It was coughing and at the same time, man. I'm a big boy. They're like, well, guy came in. He goes, "We'll catch you. Don't worry." And there was this one skinny girl, white girl, just like, she's like, "It's okay." And I'm like, "You're not gonna catch me. Trust me. I'm a big fella. So I mean, you know what I mean. I kind of made light of that. I told them that. And they're like, "Damn, you're pretty good. When you're like sick and stuff." So I got to the door, and I laid down and everything. So they put me, they lifted me up to the ambulance, and I was laying there, trying to take my fiance. You know, that's it. They're like had me with the little things around my nose and everything, and I couldn't breathe. I couldn't. They even tried that little thing where you put, the defibrillator or whatever they try to put in your mouth. Nothing. After that, boom, I just blanked out, and there was a black void. It was black. It was weird. It was like whirlwind, and you see like all these people around you, but you see them, you feel them, but you don't. But you
mm,
see their lives, how they were, what they are in life, who they were, what they did, why they belonged there, why they felt like they belonged there. You know, that was just pure darkness. They get stuck in there.
see,
Uh,
before you did have your experiences, Eli, were you ever spiritual at all?
I
Did you
was
actually feel the spirits and things around you before you had that awakening?
well, going to then, like, yeah, I'm glad you answered that. Like, my dad was a Pentecostal pastor,
Right.
when I was a kid. So, yeah, I was like spiritual in that way. I always loved going to church. I always love, helping cleaning up with my dad in church and everything. And I mean, he always preached about heaven and hell. Um, but the in between, no, you know, um, it was just heaven and hell, and how can we prevent going to where we're going. I mean, he
Hmm.
didn't know either. So um but I always felt, but not really, like because I never had that inner self. I never had that spiritual self to feel things like I do now. You
Right.
know, but talking about spiritual, that's the spiritual ness that I had all my life. But I lost contact of God. Um, I drank, I smoked when I was in Australia, and cursed and everything, and did what we all do. You know what I mean? Like, I mean,
So,
sometimes, sometimes,
yeah.
you know, um, I lost track of him. I just went out to do my regular thing, and I've traveled the world, I travel back and forth, to work sometimes in Australia. And hey, I seen the big life, I seen everything. I mean, honestly, I think my life is pretty well, Um, but I never thought I would go to this place,
Right.
of solitude and sadness and despair and loneliness and um, it's it's awful, So let me get there. So it was dark. I hear all these people saying, "Forgive me," like and why me? And I did this for you. I did this for you. Why am I here? And I'm just like, it's just going 100 miles an hour. Like like to be honest, when you die, you forget about everything
Hmm.
that
So
that's in
so
your life.
so Eli, at this point, are you, since everything's coming, is it a fast pace, or is it a lot and you're seeing it in slow motion?
It's like 100 miles an hour. It's like more than 100 miles an hour. A light
Just
year. It's like
flashes?
yeah, yeah. But for you,
Okay.
it's more like. But when we die, we leave our body. Like we die in a spiritual, first spiritual form. But at that moment, you're not thinking about it. You're
Hmm.
not thinking about using your hands to grab anything. You're not thinking about it. It's just like a magnet sort of like that. It's taking you wherever you go.
Right.
But to me, it was like going through an abyss. You know what I mean? Like
Okay.
there's no all I know, what reminded me, what really got me back is my fiance calling me, but I didn't know that she was calling my phone, and that was familiar to me,
Right.
her seeing it. I didn't know this till then. I didn't know this, none of it. All I know is she was calling my phone to, just leave me messages or whatever. So I landed on the hospital floor. Boom. Didn't hurt. I didn't feel no pain. You know what I mean? Like I didn't grab my hands or anything to lean back like this or whatever. But I seen myself. Here's
Hmm.
one thing I didn't tell you. There's this black doctor. He was really young. He was trying to connect me to a voice thing in the back of the wall, but reality, those are for like air pressures.
Right.
It's long, coming out of the wall.
Yeah.
So he was try to make me talk, but I was like, I can't talk yet. In the back of my mind, I knew why, and that's when he was telling me, "Hey, you got in an accident. You were leaving your grocery store. It's called HEB, but and I was leaving my grocery store and I got hit by a car, and I was just like,
What?
wow, like I meant like certain things I didn't say, but but I
Hmm.
was thinking about it today too. I was just like, uh, so then he was really nice. So he
Need to
went
let
to a
this smoke out.
station. I seen that window, like on the video. I know I have it on YouTube, but it was a window, and I seen the same walker when I woke up. I seen it there. Everything was just like the way it was. I remember seeing doctors, and they were just laughing at me. They were like, "Well, let me get on this laptop. Let me tell his fiance off." And they're like, "They won't love them.
Wow.
All his loved ones, and I mean, there you remember, but you don't know what happened. You don't miss
Right.
your phone. You don't miss anything. In the back of me, there was stuff that I love to do. All the pleasures, all the food, all your snacks, drinks, whatever. That maybe maybe stuff that if I would have been healthier, I
Mhm.
wouldn't have been where I wouldn't have got sick. That's what I think. So then there was this little stand, where they sell like travel things we can mail out to people, from Illinois or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it was a little rack, and I remember seeing
Right.
my phone there. It was gold, and I was just like, I was trying to reach for it, and this nurse comes up to me in front of me. She goes, "You can't reach that right now." And I said, "But I want my phone. I want my phone." Mind you, my hands were tied down because if I would have known I was on a vent, they tie your hands onto the bed or whatever they do, the bed rail, whatever. That's
Right.
preventing us from tearing out the vent. You
Right.
know,
Yeah, they strap you to a gurney.
yeah. I
Uh,
didn't know that though. I didn't know none
yeah.
of that. So so I was just like, why can't I move? Why can't I move? And I was seeing these workers go by, and I sensed them. I sensed what the person they were in life. Mind you, I seen them when I woke up too. The same people, the cleaners
Mm.
and everything. And
Right.
I know Sherry was talking about it too, about that. Like you could see the kind of person they were in life. When you're gone. I
Right.
think you mentioned that, right, Sherry? I think she did. Um,
Oh, should be back.
okay.
She'll be
But no,
back.
like I was saying, like it was. I remember the room was padded. It wasn't padded. There was always a cross there, and you can hear people. You can hear like people screaming, oh, like all around you constantly. It was
Hmm.
that annoying, like, and then you can hear the machines because, boom, 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 whatever. I can't, where when you're dying, that means you're not getting enough air.
Hmm.
You
Right.
I still look at the videos. It's a familiar sound to me. You know, I mean, it was just so much going on at one point. You go to one hospital bed to another room to another room. I even landed in the kitchen one time. Like um, this doctor put like a spoon of something on my nose, and he was just checking. He goes, "I'm just here to check you out." And I remember seeing the 500 Club, Christian channel, but the guy was actually talking to me, and I was just like, "Oh shit."
Do you feel as if there was a lesson behind it all, Eli?
Yeah.
You came away with anything from it all?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, I'll tell you the one thing. I don't know if I told you this.
You
Yeah, there
feel
was a lesson. There was a lesson to that point. There was a lesson where I feel that maybe to me, maybe it was that lesson was towards me that if I could have listened, I wouldn't have went there. I wouldn't have been there. I
Right.
wouldn't have felt that. I wouldn't have felt that sorrow and pain. You know,
Hmm.
and that is
but
true. I mean, I was thinking about that when I
but
was.
if you could have listened to what? Your life?
Yeah, well,
Religion? What?
yeah, like the religion that I didn't follow, and I know everybody on this panel and chat, they have their own beliefs and everything. Don't get me wrong. We
Well,
all
that's
die
that's
differently.
just that everybody has their own, but we wanted to hear yours,
Yeah, yeah,
of
yeah.
what
I'm
you
just
experienced, yeah.
yeah. So I was laying there, and I don't know if you guys know the 500 Club, but they talk about people's deaths and everything, or miracles or whatever. The 500
Hmm.
Club, you can look it up. It's an American show, sure.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. They used to have it on when we used to have the TV going, but we don't watch TV no more.
Yeah. Oh, you're good. I wonder why. Uh, I remember, I remember they had me in the kitchen, and I seen a waiting room right here, a little small waiting room with the window was shut, and nice chairs. There was a like a picture, but it was in a glass little picture thing, whatever. And so, and then the machines will go off in my room by itself, and no one wasn't back there in that
Hmm.
room. And even the light, you know how you turn the lights and you hear a flicker to turn on. There was like
Mhm.
4 or 5 lights just flickering, and the nurse said, "I'm not going in there to check on that. That thing's been like for a couple of days. Every time we clean the room out, because they would
Wow.
mop everything." And so the nurse said, "You know what? I'll go." And the nurse is like, you could feel the fear in her. She was all like, "Nah, I'm not going in there," And um, but this was I think to me, I think the other side, across the veil, or if I was in purgatory or whatever, like
Right.
I think that everything's broken down basically. Like there's nothing working. There's nothing, like I mean, who were those people? Who were they? Like I mean, were
Hmm.
they was I seen out of my body? because I was looking at myself getting treated like I was garbage,
Mm-hmm.
like I was left there to die basically,
Yeah.
And I remember the head doctor, the black guy. He's a black guy. He was a cool guy, He reminded me of this manager I used to work with. And it's kind of weird. I seen him at the grocery store a couple months ago, and he looked at me weird, like I seen you
Huh.
somewhere. You know what I mean? Like I seen him there. He looked at me just like, wow. I was surprised. I was kind of scared. I was just like, that's the guy that was a doctor. Oh, look at
Tempted to
Wow.
speak to him.
real.
Did
And
he
he
did he
goes, I'm
remember
proud
you?
of you. No, he just looked at me like he kept
He
looking back.
probably did, but he couldn't place your face.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he was like, I'm proud of you. I'm like, what? Out of nowhere, he left. He was leaving Walmart. I was like, who the frick are you? Like, but
Huh.
I remember him. I remember people in the background also. They were just working, like going to work like every other day. They were bringing McDonald's. They were bringing food. And I was like, man, I want that food. And then in the hallway, there was these bathrooms. But to me, I can go in the bathroom. I could go because I really wanted to go pee by myself. Because
Right.
to me, I was just like, nah, fuck this shit. I could go. But this is where I was gone.
Feeling.
It
Hmm.
was
Yeah.
a lot of memories going through my mind. I was just like, I want to get on the walker. I want to go. I want to go. So I remember there was a lot of people in the bathroom at that time. People passing by. I remember groups of people that were passing by, and they would just all look at me like weird, like
They're probably deceased.
yeah, probably they were just looking at me. They wanted me there. They were just like looking at me. They're like just looking at me, and I could feel their eyes getting closer to me, and
Hmm.
I could tell each one of them, like who they were and why way they were. They couldn't wait to get out of there. Hey, Danny, what's up? What's going on?
Danny, welcome in, everybody.
Sorry, I'm talking fast. That's just how it
Oh, that's
was.
okay.
I
I
remember at one point, like I was saying, like I was laying down. Everything was broken down. It was like, that there was no life. There was nothing at all. And I remember just sitting there. It's stupid, but it's crazy, but I was sitting in the garage, and there was these washer and dryers. Then there was some tools back on the back of the side. Then there was a sofa that was long, and there was mesh. Like I could see outside, like restaurants and everything else, but I couldn't get out in the mesh. I
Right.
couldn't. There was all these TVs and everything, and I remember, all these plugs being in my face and everything, and there was like a few steps. There was this big window where this lady, it's the same lady, by the way, when I woke up, that was taking care of me. And she would come in and she would pat me with this little pad, and she was all like, she was like, "Oh, you'll need this." She got mad at me one time. She was like, "Boom," patted me, and then this doctor got me up, just picked me up like that, and she was just, testing, getting all the junk out of my throat and everything else, and having me cough, and I mean, there was just a lot going on. I
Hmm.
mean,
Hmm.
I mean, it's just everything from it's just from that to this, that and that, like from that to a dance hall, from there to there. And basically mimicking my life, making fun of me, basically.
mm-hmm.
You
Has
know,
it feared you for death now, or are you scared to die now, or do you
no,
think it's gave you an awakening more?
no, I'm not afraid to die. I mean,
Right.
I know where we're gonna go. I know when we die, we're not really dead. We just experience things differently than others, but we are connected in one way. Telepathy.
Telepathy. Uh-huh.
We're connected in a lot of ways. We're energy. You know what I mean? Like, and
Yeah.
I mean, it's not where it's basically like it's not paranormal. You know, I mean, like on the other side, it's way different. Than what we experience now, or what we notice and see, and what we hear. Or our touches, or
So
you
Eli,
know.
all of this time, were you passed, but were you like completely dead? Did you come back and was in a coma state, or you just stayed dead for quite a
I stayed
while?
dead. I stayed dead. I
Okay.
wasn't. There was times I wasn't even near my body. I would go to. I would go to live someone else's basic life. Like basically, I was this guy in the garage and thinking I'm all that and everything, going from a cheating person to being in someone's home, and being them. You know what I mean? Like, or
You're hopping back and forward between
yeah,
people's lives.
oh yeah,
That's crazy, isn't it?
you know, and at a point, like I would go for one. I would be in one room, and then like I would just. I mean, it's not crossing the door or a wall. It's just like changing from one scenario to another. You
Yeah.
know, um, but you can smell, you can feel the wind, you can smell everything. You know, it's more like I don't remember myself floating. And I remember just gliding, feeling the gliding, feeling of the feeling gliding, but smelling, nasty smells like, like egg and blackness, and you could you could taste the blackness there. You could smell it. It's kind of
Right.
weird.
Right.
Um, I remember, I think the most frightening thing was like I was going through this little tiny hole like this back to the 1800s. And there's
Right.
like, why the hell are you here? Let me send you
You
back.
think you could have went anywhere you wanted then?
Yeah,
You
but
think you
but
could have
not
concentrated on it and went somewhere?
well, not really, not really. You were just taken there
Right.
When
for
you say you could like smell or like whatever that darkness, did it smell musty? What was
it.
this? What were you smelling like?
It smelled like rust and dirt from the earth, egg breath, like like when you have egg breath, that nastiness in the ground. Um,
Like sulfur?
yeah, sulfur.
I started saying because I like the smell of eggs.
I know, right, Danny? I know.
So
That
See, it's
see,
maybe just that smell as you're going through the veils, though. That's maybe what that
yeah,
smell is the different levels.
yeah. Um, there was one point I was, yeah, that's true, maybe. I mean, um, there was one time I was laying in an office, and I see my daughter's a box for my daughter and mop for me, and there was this old filing cabinet, like just right there. And I remember, to me, it was just like, why did they have information about me and my daughter? Like, never seen her,
Right.
and um, yeah. And then there was a big window, man, big huge window, and I see my brother's kids just playing games. Sounded like the respirator machine, and I'm just like, I'm like, oh boy, and there's not much you can do but just wait it out.
Yeah.
Man, you're scared. You're like, you see people, you hear people in the hallway. Oh, when is he gonna wake up? Oh my
Mm-hmm.
God, people pacing back and forth. You would leave your room and you would see like people going to bathrooms, and doing something not supposed to, like seeing people sit outside your hospital room. I mean, you've seen it
Were you
all.
aware of what you were doing then? Was your subconscious aware that
Yeah,
you were lying in that bed and you were travelling astrally? Were
yeah,
you aware of that? Right,
yeah.
okay.
before you
Interesting.
go any further, I have got to put this on here
Okay.
because of what Chris says. Knowing my luck, I'll visit Mystical and end up trapped in a jar.
Oh, probably will.
Probably.
Okay, I didn't mean to interrupt you. That was just
No, no, you're good. You're
hilarious.
good. It's funny.
See, that's interesting though that you were aware that you could get up and go places subconsciously.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Well,
you can when you pass over, because even though you've died, you're not quite away from your body because you're not meant to be away from your body. So
yeah,
you
it
come
was
in
like
and out.
tethered.
So
Yeah.
to me,
Yeah.
it sounds like Eli was traveling between dimensions and coming back to the
Yep.
hospital, like because
Yep.
he
Right.
was still trying to connect to his body and stay with his body at the
Uh,
same time.
it was
Yeah.
like
That fight,
it's like
get back.
Sure.
you were just
Yeah.
viewing. You're there just to view everything,
Uh-huh.
happening basically, right? Like you're just like, yeah, it's crazy, man. It was a good trip. It was a bad trip, I'll tell you.
Have you ever tried to do it again? when you're lying relaxed and you've got that subconscious energy
Well,
flowing through you.
I tried, and it was just that that feeling of just like, like not scared, but
Hmm.
basically like, like, you
Yeah,
know,
don't want to. Right, okay.
you can feel the feeling in and the smells. It just comes back to you. Well, I mean,
So you
some
could do it there if you wanted to.
I could, but I try to stop myself because,
Right. Too
like,
scary. Yeah. You maybe will do it in the future.
probably. I mean, I think that there's been someone that came back with me. I don't know to say so. Everybody says I got to communicate with it, but I don't want to communicate with it because,
Okay,
I don't
so
know who knows.
Eli, when you were under, like when we do investigations and their spirits, and we can feel like every now and then they'll touch us. Do you feel like when you had passed that you could actually touch the living, like, hey, pay attention to me, or did you feel like it was just like your hand would go through them, like there was no
Well,
feeling there, no solidness?
well, with like going back when I was telling you about my fiance, she was laying there watching TV with this when I was past. This is before I woke up, and she had told me like I had peeked across like her, outside her room door. She had opened, and she see me. Like, um, to me, it was just like a quickness, like, I
Right.
mean, like it's more like the walls basically. You can actually go through them. You can see like, I mean, there's not a odor left on the wall. There's nothing like that. When you go past when you go through a wall, you can see all the screws. You can see everything that whatever.
Right.
You can see everything. You can
Right.
even smell it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's just like, you can smell all the sheetrock. You can smell everything that's in that
Right.
wall,
It's
even the door
interesting.
too. But you don't get tired out or anything. I mean,
Hmm.
um, it's basically that's how it is. But if the door's open, you're not gonna feel nothing.
Did you try and reach out to touch anybody when you were under?
Um, no,
No.
it's basically just.
Interesting. See,
I
if
think
you
it's just
could.
like maybe like a viewing, I mean, like you were just there just to view
Yeah.
something, like it's like when I was when I was on the floor, like when everybody was throwing signs on me and papers and everything and treating me like I was dirt. I could smell the paper. I mean, knowing it wasn't real, I could smell the paper. I could smell it just
Could you
stuff.
feel it? Could you actually
Yeah,
feel it touch you? So it was
yeah, the tape. I was
100%
going
real to you.
like how you go with something, a paper goes on top of you, try to
Yeah.
blow it off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
and then you can smell the people's cologne when they walk by and everything. Like I was actually there. I was
Hmm.
actually
So all of your senses were still intact.
yeah, yeah.
Interesting
Yeah,
stuff. It really is.
very much so.
I was never
Wow.
cold. I mean,
Even when
I
you
mean,
turn into a ghost, you still get all of that.
yeah. It was sort of like you sitting there, but I mean, you don't touch. You're not itchy. You know how we're itchy sometimes, or always itchy
Yeah.
from there. You're not like that. Like it's even though it's
You're just a
something
being.
there, you're being there. You're being
Hmm.
there. You can feel the environment. You could feel. I mean, there was no light. There was no light. You know what I mean? You can see
Just
it.
a presence amongst other
It
presences.
was mocking you. It was basically, it's basically things. I'll say things
Hmm.
that they say. Let me show you something special. Let me like sort of like let me show you something that can make you happy and smile. But a
Hmm.
second later, it takes it away.
Right.
You're on the
Oh, it's
floor with
teasing you. It's teasing
yes,
you.
yeah. I was always thirsty, man. I remember always wanted water, that glass of water, always wanted it. You know,
Right.
I told God, I'm tired. I'm tired. I want to go. But it was just a constant loop. It was like, boop, 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 like
One
constant.
continual event.
Yeah, yeah.
It's interesting stuff. It really is.
I sometimes think, like I remember, said it landed me on the chair, and I could feel the land. I could feel how hard the chair was. I could feel it. It was like one of those antique chairs, from the 1800s. or something like that. And I remember, and there was this person working on a laptop, in the office, and he had a big old screen. The screen's messed up. It went to one instead of four. Security guard, I guess. And then God said, "Tell him not to go through those metal doors right there."
Oh,
And so I couldn't talk to the person. I
mhm.
was just like your inner thought is basically.
Yeah,
Mhm.
It's just like you're like, don't drink that. The feeling of, no, don't drink that drink, or else
yeah,
it's old. You could throw it away anyways. So I'm
So
mhm.
like,
you're saying you were feeling like you weren't talking to them physically with your mouth, but
yeah,
telepathically it was the
yeah, yeah,
thoughts. Okay,
yeah.
okay.
So I told that person, don't go through that door. But for me, it sounded like it was family that I was warning.
Yeah,
Don't go
mhm.
through that. You're gonna die, basically.
Mm.
And but I remember it was half a room or something. I remember it was half a room of something, and then all of a sudden, just a big old black lady, just like boom, just gets on top and just throws me. And I remember um, it felt like what do you call it? A Goodwill place or like Goodwill, you know. So Goodwill. I don't know if you guys have Goodwill over there, Drew, or not, but
Yeah,
it's like a second hand store,
yeah. We
And
call it charity shops, basically. Yeah.
yeah, I know it's different over there. So I was just, did you see anything? Yeah. Well, it's kind of weird, Debbie. Like they're not dead; they're alive. But I remember
Mhm.
certain people I've seen, around me. Um, Dead people, yes. I seen my fiance's
Oh, I
uh,
hit it again.
grandpa or someone that died, and he always loved boats. And um, if it was cold, it was cold. I remember that. I remember it was just. It felt like I was actually in the Atlantic. I mean, in the North Pole, where it was ice everywhere. We're going ice fishing. It was. I mean, it was
Right.
the. They were really loving. They
Mhm.
all in the trailer park and everything. They were having fun. I mean, they were loving. They were welcoming me in. They say, "Here, do you see this fish? Go ahead and have it." But I
Yeah.
couldn't. If I would have ate, I would have passed on. And this guy, he was looking at this translucent woman, dark hair, like in the 20s, and he was like going, like disappointed. She was alive, but disappointed in her.
Right.
You know.
Mhm.
Um, and I remember he showed me a tugboat with a little lifeboat right there. And um, going back to that my fiance has a picture of one of her lost family members, and he showed him he was a sailor,
Right.
and he had always wanted. She had told me he had always wanted a boat. Maybe that was him, you
Could
know.
be. Mhm.
Yeah. So that was for my fiance. There was some
That's
that
why I told you to sit and write things down as you remember them, because future events you could remember back to, oh, that's right. And it
yeah,
could be an answer for somebody.
probably, like, I mean, I think what the most scariest thing was, like laying on the ground. There was this lady that was help. I felt that what I felt like I told you, it was broken down. Like I felt that we were all in a place, but the hospital beds. I see myself from the ground like a hospital bed, and I
Right.
felt like I don't know, like that was my home. That was me there. That was my existence. I
Right.
felt like I remember seeing like it was an apartment, and I remember seeing the little bar. You know what I mean, right there, and there was no lights at all. And on the side of me there was black, a black trash bag like on the whole wall.
Mm.
And I felt like I wanted someone to rescue me.
Right. So I've
But
been a murder house.
I felt like it was coming, but I felt like it was coming later. I don't know when. I mean, I felt like I was wanted there. There was more people laying next to me, on the ground and everything. So I mean, that's all I remember in that one.
So you
I
Yeah.
never
remember
saw
in
any of your loved ones there, like that they would reach out to try to help you to pull you into, a
well,
gate or a
it was
light or whatever your belief system is?
Well, I mean, not loved ones. I seen. It's kind of crazy. Like I seen the living there only, but they were sort of like, I heard some stories where it's basically this is how it was like. Um, Family members that were there, but they were deceiving you, and they were
Yeah.
like, "Hey, welcome in." You know what I mean? Like, "Oh my God, you made it," and "Oh my God," but then, they deceive you by doing you wrong while you're in there. They have the black eyes, black as ever. You know what I mean? Like, you see these little things in the ground too. Like, it's just like, hey, I'm like, you know,
Hmm.
it's like I'll say, like, I was going on an elevator. Someone was attacking, my fiance, and I know it was all deceived. It was all lies,
Yeah.
and I was just beating on this evil thing, and then they took me to this freezer. I don't know if I told y'all this, but it was back when I was the first one. So I remember it was bodies hanging, not the meat. It was not meat, and I remember this
Mm.
evil thing would eat with sharp teeth, or just like, like, hey, you know what I mean, like,
See,
just
some it could be a nightmare and not real, but others could be real. So you
Banana.
just have to try and filter out what's real and what's not, don't you?
Yeah, because
Hmm.
that's what I was thinking. Because a lot of it sounds very confusing. Like you've got your bits that
Yeah.
sound very much like you was in that place where you see both the good and the bad. But then it sounds like you're going through some sort of nightmare experience with the people with the sharp teeth and that.
yeah, yeah,
So like where you died in your mind, obviously, your mind doesn't die straight away when you
yeah.
when you pass.
It
It takes
doesn't.
a
It
while to
doesn't.
to, to die and to stop.
Yeah,
So I think your mind was going through some sort of shockwave because it wasn't
yeah,
quite ready to let go.
Yeah.
So it's kind of influencing a lot of maybe things you've seen in real life that you've actually seen happen through films, or things that you may not
spirit.
like, but don't realize you don't like it until
Mhm.
you've been there. You may not have thought it affected you, but when you was there, it affected you. So
Debbie, I mean, I didn't see. Sorry. Um, yeah,
carry
you're
on.
right. Sherry. I actually, yeah, I get what you mean about that.
Yeah. Maybe about 80% it's real and the other 20%'s like nightmarish.
Yeah, I didn't see heaven, but I heard angels. Like, because I was watching this commercial, and I guess they were just yelling at. There was like 8 people in one little commercial, and they were yelling. They were like yelling. It was annoying, but it was, I don't know. But all I heard is, oh, like, you know what I mean, like it was sort of like, I don't know.
I know
It
you
was
sound.
all through it. Yeah, it was sort of like, and I remember seeing I remember seeing a cross everywhere I went. You know what I mean? Like, and um, I just feel like sometimes I was always at a,
You're on about like
huh?
the singing that you do in a church,
Yeah,
like when they're
it
all
was sort
doing
of,
their church
it was
worshiping
sort of
sort of thing.
high pitched one, yeah, voice.
Okay, so Christina says, Debbie, okay, he was in the waiting room. They were pretty sure they didn't want to keep him because the boy ain't right, but they
Yeah,
wanted to make sure.
yeah, yeah. That's true. Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad they didn't keep my ass.
Yeah. You've
Um,
obviously been told all this to be the messenger, though, so it's important that you remember it and
um,
recognise it.
I think it's just like maybe like fear, like not fear. I don't know about fear. I don't think I just felt like sort of like, like someone saved me. Like, I mean, come on, like, yeah,
Do you
I
feel
can't be
like,
saved.
and now that it's all happened, do you feel like in life, like thinking or wanting to tell people, know what you're doing in life, have
Mhm,
everything down, have your T's crossed, your I's dotted,
mhm.
because if you're not sure when you cross over, you're going to be even more confused.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Well, our fire horse. Well, when I came back, they told me I was gonna come back. What is that word? I was just had it in my head. Do you mean? Yeah, that's what I meant. There, but yeah. But it's sort of like they gave me some kind of medication because they told me that when I came back, I was going to be I was going to be tripping out a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Just
and
like
yeah,
you
I
think.
did see some stuff by the way, like you know what I mean. Like it's crazy, but it's something like wow, you know what I mean. Like it's
Okay
so
for now, Uncle Dana.
it's something like I remember the time I was hanging from the rail, like that with the pipes and everything. I
Bye,
remember.
Danny.
See you, Danny. It's coming.
Yeah.
But I remember hanging on pipes and and there was a passageway I was supposed to go. I mean, it still bugs me that I can't remember that other side.
Hey,
You're
Squirrel.
maybe not supposed to remember it all, though.
Remember, I want to.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, there's times I'm sitting there in the
It's
room
going,
and I'm just like, it sounds like you were
it's
not.
going to take you time. It's going to take you time to remember everything, and some of it for you to remember it, you've got to
Yeah,
revisit it. Now you say that you don't really feel that you've got fear or anything there, but you've got something there that's holding you back. So you don't want to go back into what it is because you don't want to smell the stuff again. You don't want to
yeah,
hear what they say again. So you
yeah,
have kind of got a fear there, maybe not to a massive extent, but you have got it there because you don't want to go back into it. And for
Yeah.
you to be
Still a
able to
fear
work out what
experience.
happened to you and to get the proper outcome to what happened to you, you will need to revisit it. You will.
Mm.
And the thing is when you die, to visit in somewhere when you're living is completely different. It doesn't mean you're going to go back to those realms. You could go to
Yeah.
somewhere else, being physically alive, where they can show you in more detail. You're not going to go back to the purgatory area because you're
Yeah, you're
not
just
dead.
going to go back to the memory,
Died, you're going to
not
go
the
to
actual
somewhere
area.
else.
yeah.
You have a
Well,
memory
there's
show
one point
and
where
maybe help you to open up to. So you need to make yourself comfortable, Eli, because the only way you're
yeah,
going to get true messages and understanding of it is revisiting
yeah,
it and trying to
And do
work with
yeah,
it.
do
You know what I mean?
do like Drew said, write it down, write it down, write it down. Like Sherry says, you
yeah,
have to remember to make
yeah,
sense of because you may write something down up here and then
yeah,
10 things and then write something else and go, wait a minute. That
yeah,
actually goes up here. That's a piece of the
Yeah.
puzzle
yeah,
here.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
You
a
know, where
message.
you have
It's a
to take
message that you
pieces
don't
off, put
realise.
them where they
yeah,
go.
Go and
yeah,
watch for me.
So,
yeah,
Eli, when
I
you
do it. I
actually
do it when
came,
I have my visions.
oh, go
I do
ahead,
it when
Sherry.
I have
What?
my visions. If I have my visions over days and days and days, I write everything I get down, even if it don't make sense. And when I go and sit back, I see messages in
Hmm.
what I've wrote over that week. I get the messages
Yeah.
coming through it. It just sticks out at you.
yeah.
And then you're like, ah, I'm getting it. And they'll tell you, you can even use a spirit box to ask if that's correct.
Put a recorder
Is this what
on.
you're trying to
Uh-huh.
tell me?
Oh
You
yeah,
know, a recorder, anything, you know.
yeah. It's just crazy how you can those people that were there with you on the other side. Like who were they? Like I mean, like
Yeah.
I remember this lady walking out. She was. I mean, I didn't know because I was there inside the building,
Mhm.
the hospital. But I remember, like I'll say, I was at a dance hall or whatever, and she had walked out, and I could smell the car, I could smell the exhaust, I could smell that lady going in the car and doing her business with her boyfriend in the car, and I mean, it was loud. I mean, it was really
Yeah.
loud. Then this female comes up to me and says, "Oh my God," like she had like curly hair. She looked like she was in the 19s and with glasses. She was like, "Oh my God, I'm so proud of you. We're all
To me,
proud
it
of you."
sounds like you're visiting a past life as well. It
Yeah,
sounds
Yeah.
like to me, even though you've been going through the visions, you're going back to past lives. Because why would these people be running up to you going, oh my God, it's you, and you
yeah,
don't realise who
yeah,
they are? They obviously know
yeah,
you. So
yeah,
what you got to remember is when you go over there, you're not
yeah,
just going to be remembering and living the life you've got today. You're going to be remembering and living all of the lives that you've had in the past because your spirit is left
yeah,
there. So you're
yeah,
going to be
Yeah.
that could be what part of it is. You're seeing different
yeah,
lives you lived and things you went through and
yeah,
other people went through
So,
yeah.
Eli, when you
as well.
died, when you came back, did the doctor say, welcome back, you'd been dead so long before you went
Well,
into a coma, or did you come back, but you were automatically in a coma and not really
I didn't even know I was in a
conscious?
coma. I mean, like, I remember coming back and I was like, "What the hell happened?" You know,
Right.
the doctors were baffled. They're like, "Well, you're 15% of life," and yeah,
Wow.
um, I was still delirium. That's it. I was still in the delirium. You know how you wake up, and you're like, "Oh, okay," you know where you are, and they're asking you all these questions. Who's the president and everything. And
Yeah.
I couldn't talk because I had a
Mhm.
trait in my throat.
Right.
A trait that helps you feed. They feed you and everything.
Right.
Like I told you in the other first interview, where I seen my
Uh-huh.
mom and my sister, and blah blah blah,
Right.
being there at the waiting dock, and they helped me out, and let me see two ambulances on the side. There was water. Yeah, it was annoying, but yeah, you know.
Mm.
But yeah, I got back, and I woke up, and I remember seeing the doctors. I see my room, and I was like, damn, the same room. I mean, the memories were alive. I mean, everything I remember was I seen the whole room, and and I wanted my phone, and they're like, sorry, like, it's in the little, you know, uh,
Cubby hole.
cubby hole, whatever. And I'm just like, what? But it wasn't there, like, I don't
Aura's
know.
just said
I,
something.
I was under delirium. I didn't know. Like, I was just like, oh, okay. And then I remember
Eli,
seeing, uh, oh,
Aura
sorry.
said something. You know, like when you said you were seeing your doctors and stuff standing
Mhm.
round you, but you were dead, right?
Mhm.
Aura was saying that would have been your spirit watching what they were doing to you in the room at that time,
Yep.
lifting you up,
Yep.
trying to get you to breathe, trying to get
Yep.
you to like. You were
So you're
Yep.
seeing
seeing
what
through
was happening to
spirit's
you as well as
eyes.
going over. You were seeing everything. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Mhm.
Yep. I agree with you on that. Like half of it was, um, that too as well. So I'm trying to read
Because
all the.
why would you? Why
Oh, do you
would you
want it
say?
back?
Why, oh, the reason I'm saying it is because obviously, why would you see your doctors in heaven? Your doctors are living. Your
Yeah.
doctors are alive. So you obviously, your spirit self at that time was looking at what was happening to you, and you're moving in between each realm
Yeah.
because you're
Yeah.
moving because you're
Yeah.
not settled because your body's ill. You know what I mean?
I it, it's funny there. It's funny you say that, sure, because like I remember, like you know how weight benches are, the little long looking things you lay on. It's a
Oh
little weight,
yeah, yeah.
and I remember I was like, oh, I remember peeing, and I remember when I thought they had connected a shit bag, on instead of like a pee bag, remember that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
that I don't even know. I mean, I think I was on
Colostomy bag.
colostomy, yeah, but I was on delirium, mind you. And then I shit up, but I wasn't on the workbench. I was on the bed, and I remember seeing this Australian anthem thingy, whatever, and they're talking about this black fella, whatever they say it on TV, like, and he play footy. I remember, and and I thought to myself, okay, but I remember getting out of hospital, and I looked up that guy, the football
Yeah.
player.
It'd be interesting to find all the people you've seen if you remembered names and things.
Yeah, and I remember that. So I talked to my doctor about it, and she was like, we don't have any, like Australian things going on, like, you know, we just kept it
Yeah.
all positive stuff, and um, but yeah, delirium sucks when you're barely getting out. I remember just laying there, and I remember, my fiance, she said, "Hey, go to the store, get, this and that and this from the store." And mind you, I was awake, but it was just delirium. So, and then I was laying there, but I was alive, but I was laying there. But anyway, so she goes, "Go to the store, get something to drink." I went, and then like, she came out. She goes, it's kind of funny. I'm gonna say this, but she was all like, "Oh, I got Nicole Kidman's perfume, and blah blah blah." I was just like, and and she was like, "Why don't you go with your friends and go watch a movie with them?" So I'm just like,
Yeah.
then she's walking away with them, and I'm just like, what? And then I lay down on the cement. It was always about her. It was always
Yeah.
about being close to her. The phone. It was a phone. It was a phone that made me feel like I was alive again. It was something
That's your
familiar.
lifeline
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
to get
my
a
life.
hold of everybody.
Yep. And she even, and whenever we're waking up, she goes, "I remember calling your phone 24/7. I recorded all those messages for you on my phone. I remember all the messages I seen. I called you every single day."
Would the nurses let you hear the
Yeah,
messages?
She did,
Yeah.
and to me, I was just like, I wanted that phone. I wanted to go home. I mean, they were even
It
blocking.
makes you wonder then if it was because of your fiance keeping phoning, that's why you were hanging on. It
Yeah,
makes you wonder if that's why you were hanging on to this life.
But a
yeah,
lot of people do that. Like you look at like these people that go into these comas and they're pronounced as dead, but they're in comas and that. But
yeah,
miraculously they wake up because they recognise the voices of people that they love, and that it brings them out of it.
yeah,
There's
Yeah.
got to be a similarity and something very important to you here to bring you back. There
yeah.
has to be. You know what I mean? So it's
I
going to be your
know,
family. It's going to be what you live. You know.
and
Hmm.
I wonder if there's a connection of when you died, whatever the medications that they gave you, if that was playing a part. If you're brain dead, then I don't see anything playing a part. But
Hmm.
if you're like in a vegetable state dead, but you
Mhm.
still have brain waves going, that medication in your system alone could be
Right,
playing
Meg?
havoc, with your
Yeah,
body and your thoughts and what you're
Yeah.
seeing and
yeah,
experience and
yeah. Well, like I said,
Mm.
like I mean, it's. I mean, like Meg said, you know what I mean. Like it's
It's
doctors don't.
interesting though because when your loved one dies and they say to you after a year or something, you have to let them go. So it makes you wonder if that letting go is what I don't know what I'm trying to say, but you see the correlation between your fiance keeping phoning you and you staying in that state of wanting to come home. Yet
Hmm.
sometimes we tell people, look, you have to let the spirit go, you have to let your loved one go so they cross over. So it just makes you see that correlation between the two, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, because she was
It
always
does.
hearing me. Yeah, she was laying in bed and she would hear me. She would just
Hmm.
be like, I'm like, I'm tired, I'm tired. Then she had a dream that I was trying to call the nurse. I was telling
Right.
her I'm scared. That was weird because like,
It makes you wonder then if your spirits were connecting even
yeah,
in sleep.
we
When she
are.
fell asleep, maybe your spirits were connecting in that sleep as well.
Yeah, it was. It was. I mean, like it was wild. I was just trying to call the nurse, call the nurse. No one would come. I'm just like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Like, I mean, to be honest, you're not worried about, like, let's get out of here. You're worried, yeah, you are, but at the same time, it's like you're stuck in the dilemma. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I just don't get like being a ghost. I don't get how. I mean, it's like God showing me like how those dead people died, and who were they? Like, who was this couple? I mean, the little girl and the guy
Hmm.
that was in the garage, and why were they like treating them like they were specimen? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and I don't get that. I don't get where
That could have been one of your lives.
Yep.
probably.
That man and that little girl could have been you and a child from your past life. It could have been anything. It may not have necessarily been anybody that is actually dead. Obviously, yeah,
Mhm.
if it's from a past life, they're dead, but it's not the spirit. It's your memory of when you
Yes,
went
memory.
and what happened. You know what I mean?
Is
So
it
they're not really ghosts. They're memories. They're
is it
premonitions of who you are,
yeah?
Yep.
spiritually sold.
Is
That's
it
why, like, you're sitting there and you're going, I'm worried about going back over there. I'm worried about communicating. I'm worried about doing
yeah,
this.
yeah,
But your experience through your death is going to be different to you
yep,
experiencing it now that you're living. It's different.
yeah, yeah. But
Okay. So you're not
at
going to
that
have
time
that.
you're not worried about that though. You're not worried about that.
Yeah.
You're not worried about, oh man. Okay, I did okay. When I got back, I remember just thinking, damn, where's my phone? I want to put this out on fucking YouTube. I'm ready to tell it all. Like,
Yeah. Do you still think about it every day, Eli? What's your scope of thinking about it all? Do you think about it
I
daily,
got
weekly?
so I don't know. Well, go ahead. I'm sorry for interrupting you. Go ahead.
That's okay. I was just finished asking you.
Oh man, I don't think about it. I got to keep myself busy. Um, because my long COVID. And I mean, I don't know. Like, I
maybe
just
you
got to
were
do other
meant to
things.
write a book, Eli. Maybe
Yeah,
you're meant to
I was
write it
thinking
down,
that.
write
I was thinking about
write
that.
a book, get it all out there in the open, and maybe that's what it was meant for you meant for you to do. Because as you're writing the book, you're remembering everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
You'll probably find there's a lot of people in your situation that's done the exact same and they don't know how to cope with it. So it
yeah.
could be a help book.
It's. I mean, every time I try to think, I'm just like, I mean, you drive yourself crazy, and you don't drive so crazy, but you like, you think you're like, oh shit, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't like the feeling of going back to it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like, oh, man, um,
It
That's
will come in
understandable.
time, I think. Yeah, it'll come in time.
It is understandable. You've been through a very traumatic experience. You have.
yeah, yeah,
But
Yeah,
that traumatic experience are your messages and your vision of you. Okay, so it's really,
yeah,
really important to get to understand you and to get to the bottom of you and what you're supposed to be doing here now that
yeah,
they've let you come back. You do need to communicate. You
Just
do,
like
even if it means
dreams.
just talking to energies and
Yeah.
things, you know.
Dreams
yeah,
mean things, and I'm sure what you went through, Matt. There has to be a reason you went through that.
Yeah,
yeah,
there
Whether
always
it's a
is.
good reason or a bad reason, it's what you went through, what you experienced, and maybe with you putting it all down, it's going to help, somebody else.
Well, one what really impacted me when I was like, this was when I was whatever on the other side of the purgatory, however you say it. I was laying there and I remember seeing like it was a dark room. I remember seeing the windows. I remember seeing the female that was that was just, looking after me. That she did me wrong, but okay. But I remember that bad spirit telling me it was a truck driver I was mentioning. You know,
right.
and I remember. I mean, it's weird, but you're laying there, but then you see that bathroom at the truck stop, and then you hear that voice saying, "If I make you survive, you got to do something." I didn't do it, but I remember I was somebody else. But I remember I was recovering still, but not recovering from COVID. Like I
Mm,
remember something
cover
being
this. It's
wrong.
probably is a past life
A
then.
past
Yeah.
life. A
Yeah,
past life.
Do,
This could have been
do,
a scenario that you was going into because
yeah,
you're saying that this person was saying to you, "I can help you to survive, but you got to do this for me." This to
yeah,
me very much sounds like something
yeah,
that
Something
you
more
was
ago.
in work with someone in a past life, and for you to
yeah.
survive, you had to do what he's telling you.
to me,
Well,
it sounds like
I found the
something
guy.
evil, like
I
something
Yeah,
found
evil was
you
yeah,
getting a
must
I
I
have
hold of
found
think
him.
they're trying to stop you treading down the wrong road. Like even though
yep,
you're having all these premonitions and stuff, yeah,
yep,
there's things in your life you've done today that remote your past lives, and they're wanting you to move
yep,
on from that to be able
Thank you,
to be more free.
Weird
So I
Wolf.
think that they're trying to put these things to you because
yeah,
you're meant to be
yeah,
like you said, you stopped your drinking, you stopped doing the things you did.
yep,
So you are starting to do that, but they're trying to
yeah,
push you a little bit more like you still have
yeah,
changes you need to make.
yeah.
We've saved you, we're helping you,
Hmm.
it's all going to be you communicating with them, Eli, and
Yeah,
yeah, to
communicating
get
with
your
yourself.
yeah.
spirituality
Got to.
back.
Well,
Shadow
I
work
mean,
is really important. You
yeah,
have to go through shadow work in life.
yeah,
With
Yeah,
anything, any trauma, you have to
yeah,
face it. But when you're ready, it will come.
yeah.
Even just doing
Well,
this will gradually let it come on.
well, I mean, I'm not saying I was an alcoholic. I drank in the past casually, but I don't know. Maybe it was just, I mean,
It was maybe just even, it could have been something you weren't even aware you were doing, you
yeah.
know?
Um. Well, about that
Or
story.
that you've been chosen for something now. They've maybe chose you for something
Yeah,
once you did actually cross over. They've maybe thought, wait a minute, Eli can be
yeah.
helpful. And
Well,
even just doing this could be your mission.
it
yeah.
was that story about the story about that guy. Well, shit. Let's think about it. Um. Anyway, so
It's okay.
there was
Take your
there was
time.
some things I'm not gonna say. Okay, but so okay, so I was okay. Those people, the two stories I told you about, being a security guard and being a truck driver. I found those two people.
Right.
I
Really?
and that was them. They told
Hmm.
me what they did. They told me why they went to jail for it. They told me why everything else. But they kind of like blocked me on YouTube, so I don't talk to them anymore. So, That's just the most messed up.
Yeah. See, this
Wow.
may be just a hard thing for them to talk about, is what they
Yeah,
went through.
yeah.
Maybe the family don't know that they did the crime or something. But it
I
shows you that it was real experiences then. That's what it proves, that it was real experiences you were
yeah,
seeing.
yeah, I know that. What's that? Okay. If there's light, there will be shadow. Yeah, that's true. I do agree with that. I do. Um, you know, I that too. I do agree with that, but it's like, I think that.
Screen's too wee for me to read it.
Um, it's like, like what God showed me, what God did this. He showed me about, like the afterlife and everything, and why
See, it
they're
could
there.
even just be to get you back on the path of finding your spirituality, whether it be God, whether it be you just sitting down and taking stock of where your life is right now. That
Yeah,
could be
well,
what the
yeah.
purpose
It'll be,
was.
it'll,
I was thinking
it'll be
about that
all of
because I
them.
mean, like I interview paranormal investigators, like you guys know, and
Hmm.
like I mean, like I mean, there's a better calling, you know what I mean? Like, because I'm still trying to figure that out, instead of jumping into something,
Do you feel like it strengthened your spiritual side, or
Yes,
it's kind of made you take a step back?
yes, because I know what spirits feel like now. I
Hmm.
know what they go through when you guys try to communicate with them, and some people are disrespectful. Some people only do it for money. Some people only, like I mean, everybody in this world is gonna know how it feels when they pass. They're not gonna
Yeah.
remember YouTube. They're not gonna remember, oh my god, I had pizza yesterday. Who cares? Yeah, with no mayonnaise, but yeah,
Well,
but
What?
that's what the spirits asked for, was pizza with me, so.
I was gonna ask
like
him, what's the deal with the pizza? What's the deal
I
with the
don't know.
pizza?
Oh yeah, okay. Well, I don't know. I mean,
He just
well,
always, about 3, 4 years ago, it seemed to be that Eli was always saying he had just ate pizza, I do believe. So I
I
think
don't
that's how
know.
it
Yeah,
came about.
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know because I remember sitting in my room before I was after a live stream. Not so God.
Well,
I
the
Hi,
just
spirits
babe.
must have said it.
I said
Hi,
to
babe.
myself, I was like, I want to know how it feels. I mean, how a spirit feels, and I got what I wanted. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a fucked up way. Sorry,
Yeah.
excuse my language,
Be careful
but it
what you wish
was.
for.
Yeah,
But
because
see, you could maybe help. Maybe there's going to be spirits that's not wanting to cross over, and maybe it's going to take somebody like you, Eli, that's been there to
yeah,
maybe help the more difficulty cases to help them
right,
cross. So it could be that maybe you're going to connect with these people.
yeah,
Maybe you've seen their deaths. I don't know. It could be anything, but maybe there is a purpose of you in this path that we're on now, helping the spirits cross. Maybe you're going to have to take some unique cases or something. Who knows?
yeah. I
To
mean,
Could
help.
very well. Yeah.
yeah.
Time will tell. It will reveal itself
What's
to you. But
what's where are you located at in the world?
I'm in Texas, San
Oh yeah,
Marcos.
that's right. I had asked you that before. You
Yeah,
said
yeah,
Texas.
yeah,
all right. Everything's bigger in Texas.
Well,
It's like,
except
Oh
for
yeah,
me
I
when I
agree.
lived there.
no, I know, right? Um, I remember when I woke up, and when I woke up, it feels so strange coming back to your body. Like
yeah.
it feels weird. It feels like it hurt. It like it was just like boom, like it was just like like I mean, it was weird. It was just
After being so free.
yeah. I mean, honestly, when you're gone, nothing just stopped unless you go to hell. But yeah, I don't know about that. But I mean, like there is a hell in heaven, okay, guys.
Do
Okay,
you
but
feel that you were in hell?
yeah, I'll get on to you. I'll maybe another one, but maybe the third one. So, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, honestly, I've seen those things. I've seen them. They're ugly. They're just like I was
That could
telling.
have been a past life as well. Maybe you
Yeah,
were in hell
yeah.
at one point.
Ew, I
That's what
mean,
I'm
no,
saying.
I
You've
didn't.
got life lessons to learn.
I
And
Yeah.
maybe
didn't
just
see the
see little
hell.
traits.
I seen what people would like. It's just like you see a person on the street, and you're like, man, that guy's fucked up what he did.
Yeah.
But imagine getting that one person and knowing the deepest thoughts and how they really are and what
Yes.
they get away with. You know what I mean? It's like
Hmm.
knowing who they really are, but
They
you don't.
couldn't hide their sins basically from you.
You know what I mean? Like you sense
Yeah.
their soul and spirit, but it feels like
Right.
it's like you know, you stay away. You know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
know who they are, what they did, what they got away with, and what they could get away with if they could do anything like that.
If they wanted to, yeah.
Yeah, but they can't.
It's interesting though that we now know that when you cross over, we as people, well, a spirit, sees
Yeah,
other people's sins. That's interesting to know.
So
it's interesting. But sorry.
sorry, I was gonna ask, since there's so many things that are spiritual, when you were passed, I don't know whether to say when you were dead or when you were
I
passed.
know
I
when
don't
you
want
went
to
to the other
traumatize.
side,
I don't want to traumatize you. You know you were under, but
You
did
might as
when
you
you
well,
cross
see,
man.
over.
other than like people, did you see like creatures,
I did.
shadows,
Oh
all of
yeah,
that, little creepy
yeah.
things?
I
You did.
seen like dark shadows, of course, make me do something that I wasn't supposed to, but they're really convincing. But yeah, right. But so I seen this one creature was running after me, man. It was just like little with nails, like long nails, and
Mhm.
I mean, full of hate. Like they just like chasing you.
Were
They're
you
just
like
like
running from them
yeah.
or what?
Well, I felt like I was running, but I wasn't. It was
Yeah,
sort of I
Were
guess
you
if they
like in a house running from them, or out in the woods running from them, or in a cave, or?
it was everywhere. I mean,
just the abyss.
it's not per se. It's basically like you can feel it running out. You can feel it. It's so
Right.
like I think what really freaked me out is when I was standing there, and I was going forward with my legs still. That's the most thing that freaks me out.
Yeah.
And,
Welcome
like
everybody.
hey,
Yeah.
welcome. Hey,
Welcome in, guys.
um, I get kind of nervous talking about that because it's just like
Scared
like
in case you manifest them in your
oh,
life.
So you felt like your legs were there, but your legs weren't moving, but you was moving, is what
but
you're
it's sort of
saying.
like yeah, it's sort of like moving, but you're
That
sort of like
sounds like, to me, that sounds like where the spirit's leaving the body. If you think the body would remain
yeah,
where it is,
Out of
but you're
body
moving. So it's not
experience.
that you're not moving or you're not walking, you're just not feeling your
yes,
physical
fire horse,
body anymore.
yes,
You're feeling
yeah.
another
I
feeling,
remember
Yeah.
being tortured.
you know.
I mean, I'm just thinking, out guys. I remember being tortured. I mean, oh Jesus
That you
help!
were being tortured
Yeah, I was being
by
tortured
by humans, by spirits, by
by
these
humans, but
creatures.
they were mocking. They were mocking family members,
Oh
Yeah.
well.
loved ones. Throwing you down on the table. Like I mean, I didn't see demons, but I've seen just nastiness, like foul.
Yeah. You just
I mean,
put 'em-
Like seeing
their
the other side
soul,
of them.
their
Yeah.
dark soul, man. I mean, like it's just like that. It's like it's something that it they're nasty. They're just they hate you. They just want to tear you
Yeah.
up so bad.
Well, Uncle Danny
It's
says
just like that.
that there is some entities and things out there that
Yeah,
just don't like humans.
I see so many
they have
spirits that
made you
aren't
look.
human. It's unreal. That's the reason I was asking you if you saw
Yeah.
any of
It was
them.
Right.
well, no, but I seen them in people. But I felt like I was being chased too, as well. Um,
Well,
it was
crazy.
it was something that that you can never. I mean, spiritually, that's all I had. Energy, your energy there. It's just something that's all you have there. You're you know, you feel happiness, but they tear it away.
Mm.
Sort of.
Yeah.
That glass of water, you're never gonna get it. You know. But yeah, I remember I was laying on the ground and this girl just tearing me apart with you know, my throat, and she was just laughing. She's like, I gotta
Hmm.
do this. I have to, you know.
Yeah.
And I just see my brother's kids right there, but there goes my phone, always ringing, but I can't tell where it is. You know,
Yeah.
That phone has to be his lifeline. That's why he
Got
yeah,
to be. Yeah.
thought
I
so
feel
much
as
of
if
that
the
That's
phone.
phone,
what kept him
his
connected
connection. Yeah,
to
Yeah.
that's
this
what he
realm.
had to could use to
Yeah.
Get you
connect.
here.
yeah. I remember running through a parking lot. I mean, I don't know why, from who, I don't know. It's those little things, I guess. Those little You know,
Little pug babies.
yeah, they're evil. They're
Little
just evil.
goblins.
Yeah,
Yeah.
evil little imps. You know, I always call them, little imps. You know, I don't know why I say that. You know,
I know
and
what
Yes,
you're
yeah.
talking about.
they, it makes me
Imp.
unsteady because just like sometimes when I talk about it, like it just like like it's weird.
Eli, see when you fell asleep after that you came back to your body and things, and then you started to fall asleep, were you scared that you went back there?
Yes.
That's a good question.
I remember this lady. This is when I came back. There was this younger lady, and she came in with the trait thing. Um, it was still in. The trait was still in there, but it was this little circle thing. They have a little circle
Mm.
thing,
Yeah.
and they connected to your little breathing thing, so you could talk. And I said, I mean, I told him I was like, I don't want to go to sleep. I don't want to die again. But they had
Right.
other because I was in so much distress because they thought I was going to have problems after that.
Mhm.
I mean, even doctors they come in the room. They're like, "Did you have any episodes? When you were under?" I was like, I told them no because they're capable. You don't know what doctors are capable of.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, put
but
it on
no,
your record. They'll put
I
it
don't
on
have
your record you're
psychosis.
mental.
I don't have
Mm.
Yeah.
psychosis or anything, not none of that. But I do have my nightmares, and I do have, you know, um, I do wake up and I do dream about that. I sometimes dream just regular dreams and wake up and I have to just think for a while. It's not real, And even eating a fake cheeseburger, you get up and you're like, oh shit, did I just eat that? You know what I mean? Like basically, yeah, it does.
Do you feel yourself waking up every day now and feeling blessed? Do you
Yeah,
feel, I feel so blessed that I'm one through that and two that I got to see what I seen? Do you feel as if it's a blessing?
yeah. I remember when I woke up, I didn't even want to see anything scary. I'm just
Mm.
like, put on some cartoons. But
But the
then
cartoons are scary.
I woke up
Yeah.
I woke up one time and I was like, the Skin Ranch thing was on, whatever the TV show.
Skinwalker
Skinwalker
Ranch.
Ranch.
Yeah, so laughing, elf scary. Oh yeah, it was creepy, Christina. It was smelly, was gray, it was nasty. Like they came from some other star universe, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, it's real. They're real. I mean, that's seen that, and I seen, I felt the little thing running behind me. Um, I remember feeling. I remember going. I remember getting stuck in a snowstorm, and I was just in a convenience store. There was clothes everywhere. My daughter was running around. I didn't see her. And I see my daughter in some of those, whatever you call it, purgatory, whatever. I've seen them.
Visions.
That's weird.
Mm.
How was she? I mean, she never went to the hospital. I mean, because
Yeah,
it's
but
closed.
she is part of your life and she is part of your soul. So you are
Yeah.
going to see images of anybody, even if they're not in the room with you. You're going to have
Wow.
remembrances of all of your
Yeah.
family. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I remember there was the most creepiest thing was like, you know, you know how you hear calculations, like, not in your head, but I'm like, on certain movies or whatever. And I remember
Yeah.
pouring this gray liquid in my body. It was scary, man. And then I remember seeing up at the ceiling and seeing some kind of number or whatever. And I mean, that right there freaked me out because just like they were always there. They were trying to find a cure for me, even brain
Right.
surgery. Like they were trying to find something, and that's why I was just like I wasn't thinking about COVID then. I wasn't at all.
Do you
But
remember the number that they put on the ceiling?
that's what I
no,
was going to say. Do you remember the number?
if I think about it more, maybe I can. Just kidding. I don't know. No, no, I didn't think about it. But
No.
it
What was
felt
your
like
room
The
number in the
number could be
hospital?
significant.
It
I
could
can't
be.
remember that one.
Okay, okay.
No, I
But it
can't.
all might come back to you through time.
It will. But it felt like
Because
I remember people would come in, go home, go on breaks, and I remember this nurse. She was always there. This female nurse was white, brown hair, and she would always tell me about her boyfriend that lived lives in some town or whatever. I can't remember what town. And I would picture her house. Like she would just tell me, and I would just picture the house she lived in. This is all dead though. And I remember that, man. I remember each furniture and everything else. And when I woke up, I told her, "Hey, must be nice," because I didn't know. I mean, I didn't know it was dead at the time. I was just waking up and said, "Hey, it must be nice living around
Hope she
Florida."
didn't tell you any secrets.
Yeah, like must be nice living in the forest, and it must be nice having a nice patio like that. And she goes, "What? How'd you know?" And I'm just like, but the way she was telling me, I pictured it. Like I.
Mhm.
And she
It's
goes,
like
"What you?"
a telecommunication thing
Yeah,
where she was
yeah,
telling you her thoughts was also picking it up, and then you were picking it up from her thoughts.
yeah,
Yeah, she probably wasn't saying it out loud.
yeah. It was crazy. It was wild.
Wow.
It's a
It was
great
wild.
experience to have
And
had.
was
Now
this
you're
when
out
you
it.
was this when you was dead that she was talking
Yeah,
about
yeah,
the house and
yeah. She
stuff?
was talking about it,
So
and then
it could have very well been her standing in your room having a conversation with you,
yeah.
like see if you
Well,
get
no,
any
because
responses
yeah,
or it just
what the funny
sounds
was
really
we
weird.
yeah, I was there. But she was telling me about all this. Well, she wasn't telling me. She was telling me she lived in the house and whatever with her fiance. That's when I seen her house when I was dead. But then when I
Yeah,
woke up, I mentioned that to her. Like I was going on with the conversation that happened when I was dead. And she goes,
yeah.
"Wow." She goes, you know, and she also
That's
told me,
good because she'll start talking to all
yeah,
her patients now, knowing that it worked.
wow. And she was all like, but she didn't mention that to me when I
All
was not
souls.
not ago. She didn't. She didn't mention nothing like that.
It was
She,
probably you were reading her thoughts while
yeah,
you were under.
yeah. And I remember she was telling me, she goes,
All
I
souls
was
can
telling my
reach
husband,
out.
she was telling me she was telling her husband to move
All
out
souls,
there because it was nice and
all
everything. She's like,
souls
I never
and
even told you
spirits
that.
can
Huh.
Wow.
live in
All souls can
dead,
reach out to other
dead
souls.
souls and spirits want you to live, so they reach out to you.
Yeah,
Yeah, but there would have been energies. There would have been energies there that knew that he wasn't
yeah,
ready to pass over, so they
Yeah.
would have been doing whatever to get him to come
yeah,
back. You
yeah.
know what I mean? But there were
It's,
those
it's just
others
like,
that would be the tricksters,
yeah,
See, it's
and
so
I do believe
interesting
that
because
a
it
lot of
makes you
this is
wonder,
part
doesn't it?
it
Makes
makes
you
you wonder.
wonder if we'll ever come across spirits that's
Yeah,
actually got a body somewhere that they're going to have to go back into.
yeah.
It's so
It,
interesting.
it makes you think if you could look at someone's life, you could picture where they live at, you could picture their whole life. I mean, just like that.
Yeah.
But
I
I,
wonder when you're going to be doing, like paranormal stuff, if you're going to run across any of the spirits while you're doing one, and
Yeah.
they're going to say, "Hey, Eli, do you remember me?"
but I
Yeah.
did that. Like, I mean, I was my last interview. I was asking questions and there were he was mentioning a spirit that it was on my channel. He was mentioning something about kids staying behind. I was like, well, at a certain age when the kids don't know really what they're doing wrong and they die, God takes them with them. Because
Yeah.
they're not at a certain age. Um, they some do probably stay behind, some don't. It depends. They know what's right and wrong. You
Mm.
know, I mean, it's just the knowing. Like, there's certain things like I can actually I can actually know what my fiance is gonna feel and think. I don't know. Yeah, we're connected, but there's times it's just like, whoa, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Your spirits will protect you for different things, though. You can't know everything about each other, you know?
yeah,
and what
But
Mystical
it'll
said
protect it.
about I
What?
wonder if you would ever be able to communicate with somebody, like say, like if they were like what Eli was like, and the spirit came out. The fact is, yes, they can still communicate with you. I've had it where I've had certain spirits that have come to me and gone, I'm not actually dead, but I am, and I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, well, I'm in
yeah,
a
you're
coma.
right.
I'm in a
Yeah.
coma. But I'm here. Can you talk to me? And I've spoken, then I've not heard that spirit anymore. So
Yeah,
they've either gone completely over or they've woke back up.
I
You know what I
remember.
Yeah.
mean? They do it,
Interesting
and
stuff,
sometimes
isn't
they
it?
would do that to reach out because they're trying to find their way back. So if
Hmm.
you ever get
Yeah,
a spirit that's like, "Oh, I'm lost. I don't know where I am," don't automatically think they're dead because they may not be. Just say, Do you still have a physical living body, or are you
yeah,
Yeah.
actually passed over?" Because that might be why they're lost. They're trying to
Yeah.
search.
I think it's more like they're freaking out, like they're freaking like
Yeah, well, of course
it's
they
just
would
like
be because they know they've got their bodies
yeah,
somewhere and they're
yeah,
going all through the
they
Yeah.
things and
they
that.
are
You
freaking
know?
out big time.
Yeah.
I mean, like me, I was freaking out. Like I was just like, to me, I was just like, what the hell's going on? Like I went with the flow because what else can I do? Like it felt like
You have to. You have to do that.
I was just like, and I mean, weirdest thing is like, I seen every corner, every door. I seen, oh, man, man, I remember laying there in bed and I remember watching TV and behind me there was some arms that were like whatever, and like
Mhm.
looking like that, like all different kind of hands, arms, whatever. Um, and so I was laying there and like I see my daughter just right there next to me, translucent, and she was just emailing me. I could read the emails she was sending me, and I just like, wow, you know what I mean? Like it's crazy, actually
Oh.
go through that, and I
It's a
mean,
good experience, though, Eli. I know it's a scary experience and it's hard that you've went through that, but it's unique and it can help people. It really can.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
remarkable. It's remarkable.
I remember this lady. She goes, oh, like do you want some food? I was with the family,
Mm.
and they were eating there. They were eating there. Remember, and I don't know what it was. I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember.
Pizza.
And I was like, they're like, "You want this food?" I was like, "I can't eat. Like,
Yeah,
why are y'all making me eat? I can't even eat."
that's
Um,
true.
and I remember following her. I mean, honestly, I was remember following her, and she was just showing me around and everything, and she was just showing me how, like, you know, um, my nieces how the room's gonna look like, and you know what I mean, like they were up to something or whatever, and and I caught them out. I remember my mom buying me penny loafers and shoe pants or whatever. And so I remember I was thrown in the garage, and I remember they opened the garage up, and my brothers come up to me, and I remember I was walking upstairs and everything, that apartment complex, and I remember just um, I remember on the floor there was a box hospital for me, box for my other brother, my mom, and my sister. And to me, I was moving out. I was sitting on the sofa. I mean, freak, man. I mean, man, they got some
Yeah,
good details right. I mean, I mean, honestly, like, just like looking around at your wall, like that and everything behind me, the little, whatever it is, like they have that. They have everything
because
detailed.
you've visited that place. That's why.
That's amazing. Like, I mean, I mean, they got everything. They have everything that you used to have when you were a kid. Like, I mean, everything, like details of, oh my God, like the clothes. But then to me, it felt like my mom took it all back. Everything loving
Right.
she gave me, clothing and everything, she took it back from me when I was dead. She took everything. She
Right.
took,
So, Eli, do you
and
feel like since you came back that your trust for people has changed, that you don't trust
yes,
them?
I do because
Like you.
after I know how those people are, well, my mom, my sister, after what I knew what they were. I know how they were, but to me, to actually knew how sneaky and deceiving they are, and what
Yeah.
they could do to me and other people. Yeah, I don't talk to my mother no more.
Yeah.
Kind of avoid her. It's sad. I love my mom. Don't get me wrong.
But at
After
least you know that your fiance is somebody that you can ride or die with because you felt that from her.
yeah. Oh, her. We still talk about it.
Yeah.
Um.
Because
Do
it
you
did
find
take
that
a long
people in your
time to get
life are
over it.
letting you speak about it? Are you openly allowed to speak about it, or are people
Not with
fed up
my
hearing
family.
it?
I don't talk about it. Hold on a second. I
Right.
was just texting him fiance. She's at work. Um.
But it's important to keep talking about it, though, if you remember things.
Well, I mean, like it's. I
It's
mean, the way
probably
they were treating
uncomfortable.
her, the way they were treating her, and everything, and um, it's something that you're just like no one would do that. I mean, of course, there's families that treat people like shit, but at the
Yeah.
same time, it's just like it was that intent of evilness, like what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I just I'd rather not be around those kind of people.
Is it
You know
because
what I
you
mean?
felt like when you were past, you were at the lowest point in your life and you were reaching
Like they
up
were
for help and
torturing me that
nobody would
area.
reach back and get you?
Nope, no. I mean, yeah, that too, but it's basically like like I couldn't die in peace. I couldn't know that the one I love was being treated like shit, basically. And
Right.
it was the most. I mean, God, I felt her fear, I felt her pain, I felt everything three times worse, and I mean, like it was just like I remember laying there in that bed, and they got caught up for stealing something when I was dead. When I called
Right.
it out, and I remember my mom was like, "Oh my God, my son's here. Let's cover this up. Let's do
Right.
that with masks. They had like those masquerade masks cover me up.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I mean, it was basically I was they were always ashamed of me, because
Bye,
Right.
weird world.
yeah, because
Welcome
I
on.
gotta go.
hey, what's up? How's it going?
Yeah, weird world
Um,
has to go.
see you later.
Another night.
Um,
Bye.
I remember just um, you know, it's just basically just because I left Australia. I went to Australia a long time ago. She holds that against me, and I didn't let
Right.
her see my daughter. She was being, oh, if you take her, I'll, because I wanted to go back. Basically, I was married still back then, you
Right.
know, and I was like, I'm gonna go back because you're treating, the person I loved back then like shit too, and tell me you're gonna take away my daughter, basically. I mean, she still holds that against me. She
So
does.
do you think that you were just getting the confirmation that you always thought? Do you think the spirits on the other side were giving you that confirmation about your mother? Well, obviously it's their instincts. It's
Yeah.
just your instinct because you died. Do you
I mean,
feel as if it
I mean,
backed up your experiences?
well, to me, it could be like silly. It could be like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, maybe it was just nothing. Maybe it was just like, the drugs or whatever they put in you.
Right.
No, this shit was real. I mean, it
Yeah.
was real drugs. It was real. The only thing they did is put anesthesia down me to keep me calm. They kept me calm so I could breathe,
Uh-huh.
and they just put a breathing tube down my throat. That's all it was. I mean, there
I
was
know
no.
when my mother was in it, the only thing she was getting, I think it was antibiotics. She don't get any pain medication or
Wow.
anything like that.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
my mum
yeah.
did was the same. So yeah, I know you only get like
And I had blood pneumonia.
antibiotics and things.
Yep, I was on the verge of my two lungs failing me.
Right.
And
Eli, how's your lungs now?
they're actually good. I'm just I don't know, like, because I don't really get out much. I do get out much a lot, but like I'm not out there 24/7 because of the heat right now. Um,
Yeah, of
but
course.
everything's fine. Like, I mean, I got my heart doctor coming up. Next no September, and well, I actually had to ask for an appointment. My doctors didn't, so
Right.
Because weren't you in a wheelchair after all of
I
this
was.
for a while?
Yeah, I'm
But you're
on like
not anymore.
now I'm on two elbow crutches. Well, one around the house. It's just one elbow crutch, but if I'm outside, then I'm with two. Still working myself up, but yeah, it's always
Good,
something.
Eli.
That's
Good.
great. Yeah.
Um, it's hard. Like, I mean, still trying to get physical therapy again, but I'm up and about. Sometimes, well, my body's still out of shape. I'm trying to get up, onto that and everything else. And
That'll come. That'll come.
yeah, it's hard. It's like being forgetful sometimes, or if you're really tired. Man, I'm always tired. I'm always.
Yeah,
I mean, it's tiring. Like,
of
just keep
course
up.
it is.
Yeah,
You
it
experience
is.
things in a completely different way when you go through that.
Yeah,
Even
and
when you come back, like there's a lot that you have to deal with and battle with, and a lot of people that have gone through what you've gone through, where they've died and they've been out for so long, obviously all of this has effects on your brain and on your body as well. Some
Yeah,
people do end up
yeah,
not being able to walk for a while, or not
mhm,
being able to do certain things, or learning
yeah,
to talk again. it,
yeah,
it does happen, you know,
yeah. Some people they don't make it, and
and
I
some
Exactly.
don't.
mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always think it's a new life. It's a
It
new
is.
life for me, and
New beginning.
I'm back. Yep.
It's like what Pups pulls that card out and gives you the white card. It's a new start, a new life. That is what you've been given.
Yep. The blank card is
Yeah,
there for you to
Oh yeah.
rewrite your life.
literally.
Oh yeah. It's something that I wish that no one could never experience dying. I'm not saying it's all, games and everything. It's not. It's but I think the most exciting time was just like when I spoke to God, and still gives me
Yeah.
shit about it, and and you
Maybe
know,
you'll get to a stage where you'll start talking to other people that's been through what you've been through. Maybe that's where you'll go with your
yeah.
channel.
Oh
When you
yeah.
say that you spoke to God, did you physically see him? Did you
I didn't
physically
see
see him,
like
or
I
did you
didn't.
hear him?
I know He was behind me. You can feel it. I mean, when you see God, you feel Him, and you see His like sandal in His feet. Like
Right.
no, you know He's God. You know it.
Yeah.
So
You
you
feel the
so you
love, the
sensed him?
kindness.
You
It's
sensed him behind you?
yeah,
Okay.
it's the most I mean exciting love that you can ever feel. And the
Pure
tribal
love.
told me, and it was loving. It was just like you know, um, I was done. I wanted to just give up the shit that just. It's mentally foggy. Like it just mentally screws you. You
Yeah.
know, it does. You just want to just like end it right there. What was it? Sandal. Yeah, I seen the sandals. Not like sandals from now these days. The old sandals. I can't explain. I knew. I just knew it. Like it's
But
just.
a lot of the higher divine energy do wear those sort of things. So
Yeah,
this is why I
yeah,
was asking, because
yeah,
there's a lot of people that have said when they've passed, they've not physically seen them, but they've heard the voices speak to them,
yeah,
and they've seen a really bright white light. They've not
yeah,
seen a physical body. They've seen a light and a
yeah,
sense that it's something divine.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
do you 100% believe that it was God, or maybe it could have been
It was God.
something connected to that?
Will was God. I knew it was. Um,
Yeah.
just that. I remember. I was thinking about it so far. I wish I could remember the beat to the music. Like, it was. It was so
That
amazing.
might come as well, Eli. You have to remember back and that might come. You have to just push yourself to remember more and more and more.
It was amazing. I think that's the most brightest time. I still, I was talking to my fiance about. Um, I remember being in some house, and you can see the stairs. You can see like you can see this big old jar with the M and M's. You can see the TV. You can see the floor. You can see everything. But then it got quiet. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but this lady comes and she goes in front of your face. She's right from my face. She goes, "It's because of you, my daughter died. It's because your fault." She was crying. She was a police officer, and then
Well,
she turned me around. It was outside. I still have dreams about that. Like it's just like, like
so that could
oh
have been a past life. You could have been somebody totally different.
Sounds like
yeah,
it.
Yeah, because it
I
doesn't
still
necessarily mean you or you were a male or anything.
yeah, or
It
Even
something
the
just
happened.
dog.
Yeah, maybe something
Could have been
happened.
anything.
Yeah,
yeah.
but it was something. Like just that
I do
feeling. Just
believe that you've definitely visited people from your past.
Yeah.
Definitely.
yes,
But you
yes,
can't take it personally because that was not you
yeah.
in
Oh
that
yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I
lifetime.
think that as well.
Yeah, that's
But to
not you
me,
now. That was some
Yeah.
like back,
yeah.
back, back.
Well,
That's not
To
you
me,
now. You know.
yeah. But to me, God took
That's what
away
I'm
the
saying. It's a
fear.
whole link.
I wasn't scared. I wasn't. Honestly, God took away that fear. Like it's like I hear some people's testimonies and everything. Their fear was taken away. I mean, even when you come back, like I take it everything like a grain of salt now. Like I don't sit there and be like, like I always say, let God handle those people that do you wrong. You know, don't hate on them. Forgive them. Let them go. You don't need that person around your life. Let God handle them.
Yeah, I say
You know,
everybody has their own path and they'll be dealt with
yeah,
appropriately.
yeah, yes.
Exactly.
Unless I get mad and do something about it.
I know, right? I would hate to piss her off. You know,
I
Unless
do
you get
def-
your karma in this life.
I
I know.
Yeah.
definitely do think that they're trying to tell you something. And I
Yeah,
do think you do need to look into yourself, and you've definitely seen like your past lives. And what you've got
yeah,
to remember, no matter what sort of being or animal or whatever in, your soul never changes. The spirit of you never changes. So that spirit carries in every single life. It just gets wiped for a new
yeah,
life, but you're left. It's still left up there. So
yeah.
it's
I can
interesting.
hear
It's very
merciful
interesting.
at all. Is it
Yeah,
just me?
I definitely think you'll help a lot of people, Eli, whether it's just now with what you're doing or in the future.
it's. I remember there was that one story where I was the
I
story,
think she's
but
saying I can't.
I can't hear Miss Cole. Oh, okay.
But I can hear her just more quieter. Huh.
It's like I was at this lady's house, and I feel like it was my brother's friend's house, and I remember seeing. I mean, their loved ones pictures on the frames and all the sofas, and I remember seeing all that, and I remember seeing myself in the body bag and everything, and I mean, just I smelled that barbecue. It was good.
It's a lot to deal with, it really is. From one extreme to another. Can't
So
be easy seeing yourself in a body bag. Can't be easy.
yeah, that was wicked. That was there. I mean, God took away that fear too. Um, I don't know. It was something ugly. It was just
Yeah,
Christina,
pointing down and been like,
has it
that
made you
is you.
claustrophobic?
well, no, not that. I mean, it was more like, this is where you're gonna end up. you know, like,
Hmm.
yeah, all right. Like I hate this weather, but whatever. So, um,
Okay, Christina, I'll talk louder. I was talking not so loud because Lee was taking a nap, but I think he's up now.
yeah, I'm being loud. So.
Yeah.
No,
I'm
not
going
no.
to
You're
go in a
not being
couple
loud.
minutes
He
anyway,
can't hear
guys.
you because I have headphones on. He can't
Okay.
hear anything on the computer.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You can be as loud as you want. He can't hear you. It's me in the
But
room.
it's hard. It's hard to come back after all that, and you know, um, it makes you think. Like, I mean, I don't think of no more, but it made me used to think. Why am I here? Why am I not there? You know what I mean? Like, there was
Yeah.
times I did think about that. There was times I couldn't see certain movies, and there's times where just like, I question myself. I'm just like, because when I was dead at one point, I told my daughter, "Where did you get my canes at? My elbow crutches at?" And she goes, "Brought her back from the hospital." But to me, I threw them across the dance hall, and they landed like where people go, like singing and everything.
Yeah.
Threw them because there's a lot of furniture over there. I was like, "Oh, I remember that," and I threw my braces over there too, that I wear
Wow.
walk with. And I was like, did you get them from this? My daughter was like, what dance hall? What dance hall are you talking about? Like, and um, but it's really, I mean, like, it's a really wild
Things and
experience. Yeah,
See, some it will be dream
just
state,
work
but other
with
things will
yourself. You do need
be
to work with
important.
yourself. I think you've got things to come to terms
yeah.
Yeah.
with,
I,
like
I, I,
shadow work, most definitely. You know,
I sort of haven't came to my terms of like death. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I haven't, I haven't mourned for myself yet. you know,
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
something to think about, right?
yeah. I used to feel numb. I used to feel
it
like,
takes time.
How
yeah,
do you mourn for yourself? How do you do that?
I don't know.
Exactly.
I I think after my dog died like a few months ago, when he died in my arms, I felt that peace,
Yeah.
that peace, and that next step, what I'm supposed to do, I don't know yet. and um, it's what the hardest thing it is, you know, getting yourself up like you used to be, like and walking around with one cane, try to pretend you're normal, you look normal,
But
you know,
that'll come in time, Eli. You just have to keep doing your exercises and
yeah.
things.
It's
Yeah.
hard because
You're
like your body's
recovering.
up,
You're recovering.
your
There's nothing
body.
wrong in that.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Can everybody
no,
else hear me
But you
fine?
will get there.
I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
that's why I haven't been on YouTube much because I'm trying to work on myself.
Of course.
Yeah.
And it's a,
Yeah.
You have
You
to.
know,
process.
for you to mourn for yourself, why don't you write down like a what are they called? Eulogies, all eulogies? Is that what they're called?
Yeah.
YouTube,
Mhm.
Yeah. You know how fine of a person you were, and you had
yeah,
such and such kids, or you were married or not married, and your
A
parents
yeah,
were so and so,
bibliography.
and yeah, and who you left behind, and all of this, and put it in a frame and put it up on the wall. And then that way
yeah,
you know you've mourned for yourself because you're there.
yeah.
That happened to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of odd. At least I see my own funeral. Uh,
But it's Eli, it is a
I know,
part of you
I
that's
know it's
dying.
hard.
Your innocence has died when that happened. You know now that there is life after death. You know now that the God
Exactly.
energies and things are real. So it's a can be a hard pill to swallow for some people. Others will take excitement from it, like, oh yes, I know that it's all real now. But there is still
Mhm.
a part of you that has died. That innocence has died.
it
Yeah,
has that,
Yep.
definitely.
that,
Yeah.
that, that curiosity, of how it feels, and now I see it, like,
You just
um,
have to
If
try and find the positives in it and
if you
cling
think
to
about it,
them.
when you first started out on YouTube, Eli, and you would come into our rooms and that, it was always you just sitting there and listening to people and
yeah,
hoping that you knew what they were on about. And now you've
yeah,
had that experience and you know it full hand. Do you know what I mean? So,
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
it can be
There's
quite
a lot.
troubling, but it is a gift. It is a gift that you've got to experience that. It is, even though you
Mhm.
don't feel it. And like that thing when you're saying you see yourself in your body bag and in your coffin, like Sis said, that could have just been that showing you that side that was oblivious to everything because now you're
Yeah,
somebody else. You become
yeah,
something else because you've had that experience. You know what I mean? It
yeah,
don't mean it's the death of you, it's the death of the part of you that doesn't exist anymore because of
yeah.
your experience. You know what I mean?
It's like I feel like it feels like now I come back, like it's a whole new me. Like
Mm.
I'm
It's a
back
second
And be
chance.
proud.
around and still do all
Be
this.
Yeah.
proud. Be proud. Do you imagine how many people over there wish that they could have come back and got that second chance? You've been given that second
Mhm.
chance to walk
Yep.
Oh
with it.
yeah,
The
oh
old
yeah,
you
You know?
died, and now the new you is here. You have
Yeah.
your phone. You have your pizza. You have all of us.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
like I was pizza kid. It's stupid, but okay. Like I was telling you, on the first one, I was just like I remember I was this owner of this pizza freaking damn king person, whatever. I had long black nails, and my business was thriving. But there was this other one. I think it was like a hotel, but whatever. And I was making all that money, but upstairs there was this female that was crying out for me, and I was just like, "What the hell is that about?" Figure that out. Maybe I was taking away her pizza, and yeah,
buy
Yeah.
you a buy you a second phone. Have it in your pocket at all times. So if you lose one, don't panic. You have that other
Another
lifeline
one.
in your pocket.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well,
I will. Hey, you never know. I mean, I probably will. Yeah, right.
well,
It's
everybody,
been
we're
very
going on an
interesting.
hour and 44 minutes, so I think we'll let Sherry and Drew get on with their lives since they're 5 hours ahead of us.
Yeah, I
Yes,
gotta
until
go.
11
And
o'clock.
and I'm
It's
glad
just that it's an
I'm
experience that I'm glad that you shared with us, Eli, because it's
yeah.
important. And if you ever want to keep coming back and talking about it, I'm sure that Mystical and I and Sherry will always give you a platform for it.
Yeah, just
I'll
Yeah.
say,
well,
hey,
thank
I
you. I
remember
appreciate
some
it.
more. Can I come on? We're like, when? And
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
jot it
Well,
down.
I
There
mean,
is
like
still most definitely that
there
journey.
is
You've
more.
still
I
got a
Yeah.
just
journey.
And
you
now
know.
I can start streaming on Ghost Squad Scotland, but I already had this set up. when he showed
Yeah.
me told me how to do it. So I didn't want to
Yeah.
go back and redo everything. So next time, any of the lives will also stream through that.
Yeah.
So
Oh, Scott. Yeah.
All right.
so we
Like I
want
Yeah,
to
I've
say,
got to
say
go and
I
eat.
will.
I need to eat.
So we want to say
Same
thank you
as
to
well.
everybody in the chat. We want to thank my co-host Drew. We want to thank my guest Sherry and our special guest Eli. And you're, like Drew says, you're always welcome to come back on whenever you want to, even if it's just for whatever, just to chit chat.
Yeah,
We
to
can,
go
Yeah.
back through it, or not even to
yeah,
talk about it. Just
Yeah.
anything you
Well, if you
want.
guys want to come up with some questions, maybe I'll remember more about it. But you know what I mean?
Sure.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Could
I
do
don't
So
mind
that.
questions. Open
We could
panel,
do
whatever. I
that.
don't care. Like, I mean, whatever y'all want to talk about. So,
Yeah,
okay, that sounds
definitely.
good. I would love to have you on. So
thank
thank
you.
you, everybody. All right.
Love and light.
Stay
So
Bye,
positive, guys.
guys.
stay there, Eli, so we can say thank you to him. We'll end it now.
Okay.
Bye.
Stay positive.